Hey, hey, hey. Welcome everybody. It is Hannah Morgan, Career Sherpa. I am here because it is Job Search Live Monday. We're reviewing Summary Sunday, um, interviewing, job searching, and more. So if you're joining me here today, go ahead and put it, I can never do that, put it in the comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I want to know who's here with me. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, Aileen. Hi, Nigel. Good to see you. Great to be back. Well, you know what, Nigel? I just assume you not come back. I don't want to see you anymore because that would be a good thing, right? Thanks for being here today, you guys. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Hannah Morgan. I am the Career Sherpa, and we're doing Job Search Live today. And this is when I review some of the best articles that were in the Summary Sunday this week. And so I put the Summary Sunday link in the comments. I'm hoping you can see it. It should be the first one. Hey, Michael, good to see you. Good to see everybody today. So the theme of this week's Summary Sunday, interviewing, job searching, and more. And I'm just going to ask if anyone read it and if you had a favorite article, let me know in the comment what your favorite is. I always have a favorite. I do play favorites, but some of the things we're talking about that were covered in this week were how to improve your job, how to improve how you prepare for interviews, out of the box ideas for gaining attention. There were two of them. Employee referral program data, which is important to understand, what to say in a resignation letter, and I want anybody who is working and looking to have the honor and privilege of having to write a resignation letter, list of job search experts to follow and listen to, and what the workforce will look like after COVID-19. So those are the topics that were in here. Hey, Colleen, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Um, did anyone have a favorite article? Did anyone read any of those articles this week? Okay, so let me just dive in, because one of the things that you can do that's going to give you a competitive edge over other candidates who are interviewing is to know everything that you can learn about the company. And so avid careerist Donna Sai shared two research tools, company research tools that you should know about. Obviously, one is Google. And because Google is the biggest search engine ever, so she walks you through a couple of different ways to search for news, current news about companies that you are going to be interviewing with. And she talks about Google Discover and how that can be used. You can also set up alerts, but Google Discover is the tool that she's talking about. And if you don't use Google Discover, this is a good tool to know about. The other is just basic Google searching, right? So if you could spend an extra 30 minutes to an hour researching the company, I think that you would do a better job understanding what their goals are, what their finances look like, what their challenges are, what new products and services, who's been recently promoted. All of that stuff gives you a feel for what's happening. Let me give you an example. If you go through the news and you see they've just promoted 3 people in the last month, what is that telling you? That is telling you that the company is making some changes, because you don't just randomly promote 3 people. There's a reason, there's changes. So your question during the interview is, I see you've just promoted 3 people and it wasn't completely clear to me why that is happening. What's changed in your business that allowed you to make those changes? Right? Because then they'll tie that back to how the position you're interviewing with will be involved in that growth or those changes, and you want to understand that. So I hope that helps. The other article that I shared was a little sneaky because I wrote it, but how to use Facebook to prepare for an interview. And I'm not recommending that you go to Facebook and build an account there if you're not already using it. But if you are using Facebook, did you know that you can search your connections who may work inside a company and search for friends of friends who work inside a company that you're going to be interviewing with? LinkedIn lets you do that too, but that's only based on your LinkedIn connections. Your Facebook connections oftentimes are different, and people personally have different connections than they do professionally. So while I have 300 and whatever connections on Facebook and whatever thousands of connections on LinkedIn, there's not all those 325 people are not people I'm connected with on LinkedIn. And maybe you're the same way. Some people like to keep their personal and private life separate, but you can use Facebook to find people who work inside the company that you're going to be interviewing with that are connections of friends of yours. It's very good. Like that's a little known tool, a little known research tool. So those were two ways you could get more inside information. And don't wait until you've had the interview to start talking with people who work inside the company. Talk with them before you have the interview. Your outreach could sound something like, I've got an interview coming up next week with ABC Company, and I see you used to work there. I'd love to talk with you about what your experience was like, what you liked, what you didn't like, and whether you might go back there again. Have that conversation with somebody before the interview, because all of that intel that you gather will allow you to ask better questions during the interview, will put your radar up so that you know what to be looking for, right? So have those informal conversations with people prior to the interview. If you can't get them all in before the interview, that's okay. You can still have them sandwiched in between your first interview and your second interview, assuming you're going to get that, right? The next article, really, I was so glad to find this by Cullen McGrath. And he talks about how to use a personal pitch deck. A personal pitch deck, yes. And for weeks, I've been talking about using presentations to post those publicly and to share those with people to get the word out about how multifaceted and give a greater breadth to describe what kind of a worker you are. So if you read that article by Cullen McGrath, he talks about how he used his personal pitch deck to land a job, right? So I found that very interesting. The next article is by Fast Company. 5 ways to reach out to recruiters that feel refreshing. And the caveat that I have is all of these are great recommendations, but recruiters are not the target audience for you. In other words, you shouldn't be reaching out. You can, but recruiters are really not hiring decision makers. They are cogs in the wheel. They respond to the demand that is placed on them inside the company. And so why is that important? That means they are not the ones who are proactively hiring people or looking for the next great hire in their company, because they don't know. They're filling open requisitions. So if you are going to be using any of these creative ideas in the Fast Company article, like sending a video message or attending an online event or offering a favor kind of thing, all of those are not necessarily things that you would do to the recruiter, but somebody who has the authority to hire you inside the company that you are targeting. So this all works if you have a list of target companies, right? So the fallacy of that whole article is that no, it's not really the recruiter that you want to see this stuff. Sure, they might see it, but you really want people inside the company to see all these crazy, fun, creative ideas that are out of the box. Did anyone read the article by Fast Company, and was there anything that you're anxious to give a try? The Facebook. So going back and looking at your question, Michael. So the search, how to use Facebook, because it's not really its own special tool. It's just using Facebook search and what terms to enter in there. So yes, that is in that article. You will find that there. Is everyone's friends on Facebook real friends that can help? Nigel, I don't know. But what we do know is that even if you're not a good friend, you're a connection on Facebook, if you said to that friend, hey, I see you're connected to so-and-so on Facebook, could you introduce me, or would you mind if I reached out? They might say, go for it. I don't care. Or they may say, sure, I'll introduce you. So we don't know. And this is the weird thing. So there have been some studies done over the past couple of years that said it's actually not your best friends, your closest friends that introduce you to the right people that land you a job. It's loose ties that actually end up getting you the referral that gets you hired. So the thing is, we don't always know a lot of the right hiring managers for the work that we're looking for, but our friends do. So getting that connection to a friend of a friend is actually the better route. If we knew enough people that could get us hired today, then none of us would be sitting on this call right now. Right. The reality is we don't have those relationships. We don't have those friends, but our friends do. And our friends of friends are a lot more likely to refer us on. There's so that's sort of the loose ties is what sort of that concept is. And then Colleen, I like that there were um, networking ideas that add value, share a favor in advance. Yes, right? So if we pay it forward, if we give in order to get, not only do we feel better, but people see the value in what we have to offer. So thank you for sharing that takeaway. That's really awesome. The next article was written by Adrienne Tom. And if you don't subscribe to her newsletter or read her stuff, I'm going to recommend that you do. Her company is Career Impressions. She's a resume writer. I don't write resumes, so I turn to the experts. But Adrienne Tom shares a lot of good articles, and this one was Write a Resignation Letter That Leaves the Door Open. And this is what we have to always understand when we are leaving a job. How we leave a job is the lasting impression that somebody, our coworkers and our manager has of us. And we never want to burn bridges. We need that. We need those connections because sometimes they're going to give us a reference. Sometimes they can give us a referral. So never burn bridges. And this is that article talks about how to write a resignation letter that doesn't cause that to happen. In the olden days, I was just giving some advice to somebody on this. In the olden days, we used to believe that giving 2 weeks notice was customary. I think that's still a general good rule of thumb, but you've got to take care of yourself, and the company would take care of themselves as well. They don't always give you 2 weeks notice before laying you off, correct? So if they don't have to give you 2 weeks notice to lay you off, then you don't need to give them 2 weeks notice to start a new job, if that is truly the case. 2 weeks is best, but when you can't, then write a really nice letter and explain what you're doing. You also do not need to explain where you're going and why you're leaving. That's none of their business. You can provide a general overview, but do not tell them where you're going and how much money you're making. That's your information. That's not their information. One of the things that I think is, so that was that one, more information than you needed, but writing that resignation letter is an important thing and you want to do it right. So read that and bookmark it so you have it. Fistful of Talent is a website that is dedicated to providing recruiters with information. And so what I like to share is, information from a recruiter's perspective to you all so you can understand what's going through their minds. And so this article quoted a study that was done by a small little company called Drafted. But let me share with you some of the stats. Overall, across all employer sizes, the average number of referral hires is 27%. On the high end, it's around 44%. So anywhere between 27 and 44% of all new hires come in as a referral source. So if you want to increase your odds of getting a job, then you need to get referred, period, end, right? And how do you get referred? You talk to people who work inside the company and you build relationships who work inside the company. The average referral hire bonus is around $2,000. So if you ask somebody inside of the company to refer you, you're essentially, and you get hired, you're essentially putting $2,000 in their pocket. Referrals using the category referrals is the most popular source of hire regardless of company size or corporate age. So when companies are talking about how did you hear about this job, or how did you come here, and you check and somebody checks the box referral, that's the most popular source of hire. In other words, more people come in saying they were referred than any other source of hire, more than job boards, more than recruiter, more than company website, more than all of those. People say they were referred. So there were some good information for you, so that you understand that companies do have employee referral programs, which there was another survey that looked at this and said that most people inside a company don't know about what jobs are coming up in the company, either because they're not paying attention or because human resources doesn't share that. But the companies that are trying to get better at this are trying to make their new opportunities that they're trying to fill more publicly well known to the company, so their employees can refer friends and family. So it's important for us to understand that employee referral programs exist, and we're helping people make an extra, on average, $2,000, right? That's pretty awesome. Um, okay, so here's a question Nora asks. Should you apply through the regular channel before you ask for a referral, or apply directly to the referral via a message? The best course of action is to use your referral when you apply. So sometimes it depends on how that works, right? Every company is a little bit different in how they track referral sources. But I don't want you to wait 2 weeks to get that referral to permission to get there. That would be a way that you'd be missing out on an opportunity. So it's a blend of sense of immediacy, urgency. If you can get that right back, then go ahead and use the referral. If it's going to take a couple of weeks, then you're better off, mentioning the person in your cover letter. I know this person who works there, and I'd love to apply for this job, and treat it as an informal referral source. So that's a good question, Nora, and we'll certainly be talking more about that. Are there any stats on the proportion of people who agree to refer? No, you know what? I didn't read the full article. So if you read that full article, Nigel, that might be in there. I think that number is not as hard as you think, is not as bad as you think, because this is what we know. There are different types of referral sources. So I don't know you at all, Nigel. We've had conversations back and forth. But if there was a job that I could introduce you to, I would say yes. I can refer Nigel. I know him. I don't know his work performance, but there's no reason why that would prevent me from referring you for a job. It's not my job to filter out candidates that may or may not be a good fit. That's for recruiting, and that's for the HR manager. I'm just the conduit, right? So I'm not putting my true personal recommendation or endorsement on you. I'm just saying, yes, I've met Nigel. I don't really know him, but I'm going to refer him. So there are different levels of comfort. And so I think it's up to us as the job seeker to also say, I'm not asking for you to be a professional recommendation or to endorse my skills. I'm just saying, can you pass my name along to help make that easier for people to do, right? And help them feel like their personal reputation is not going to be in any way damaged if they don't know you well enough. So I hope that explains. The next article was Career Metis. For those of you that love podcasts, you'll love this list, because over 70 career podcasts for job search and career growth. Great. Go add all those to your podcast list. I can't listen to podcasts. They don't work for me. I'm not an auditory learner. It just doesn't fit with my style. But if you are listening, if you do listen to podcasts and you're looking for some good ones to help you with your job search, that list by Career Metis will absolutely help. The other list that is right underneath that is the top job search experts to follow on LinkedIn for 2021, according to JobScan. And they have 25 career experts, job search experts, that they feature in this article. So those are great people to follow on LinkedIn. Follow them. Follow. You don't need to connect with people on LinkedIn. Just follow those 25 people on LinkedIn, and that way their stuff is more like what they post is more likely to show up in your home feed. I will say that I'm somewhere on that list of job search experts to follow the JobScan release. So I'm happy and honored to be on that list. There are a lot of people that I have never heard of before that are also on that list. So my job next is to go meet those people and figure out what they're all about. Some people have different audiences that they're serving. So some of the people on the list are serving people that are younger or earlier in their career. Other people serve, a broad spectrum, and some people tend to serve more executive level. So, and then of course I included my Twitter list, the job 2021 job seeker advocates on Twitter that I hope you will also follow, because that's fun. One of the more interesting articles, we're rounding this out, is The Future of Work After COVID by McKinsey and Company. And McKinsey took a look at what the predictions are going to be for jobs pre and after COVID starts clearing up. And one of the charts that I pulled out is based on some analysis, where is there going to be a demand for talent, and where are jobs going to be eliminated? And down at the bottom are the occupations that are going to be eliminated, or will be decreasing, I should say, in significant numbers. Office support. If you do any kind of office support, you're going to need to specialize, because office support roles across the United States and much of the world are going to be outsourced. Most people can do a lot of the primary office support themselves. I don't need a typist. I don't need a secretary. I'm taking care of that myself. So look at other careers besides office support that you can do. Maybe it's customer service, maybe it's sales support, maybe it's something more specialized. Production and warehousing are declining, agriculture is declining, food services is declining, and customer service and sales is declining. What is growing? Health aides, tech and care workers, STEM professionals, people in science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing professionals, health professionals, managers in general, business and legal professionals, creatives and arts management, transportation and services, educator and workforce training, property maintenance, community services. Well, yeah, I'll stop there because some of those aren't. I want you to look at this list and say, okay, what area interests me most? How can I go learn more about what being in a STEM environment might be like? There's not a lot of information, but you can start reading up. I just want to give everybody a heads up that no career is forever. We all have to make subtle and sometimes major shifts and adjustments. So this is the time to be thinking about, okay, if I need to make a career adjustment because my career is being phased out, the job I do is being phased out, what can I go do? What skills can I be building and get my company to pay for so that I'm ready for that next shift? The other thing that I threw into this week's Summary Sunday was the Wall Street Journal is offering a career summit that is free. And I forgot to write down the date, but I think that it's this week. Let me just go see when that is. And they have a host of different a host of different speakers that are going to be speaking, and their breakout sessions and information. So that's March 4th, and it's half day or more, so you can sign up for the whole thing. I think it's going to be recorded if you can't attend the whole thing. It'll be interesting to see what they're saying and the information that they're giving. I trust the Wall Street Journal and the information that they'll be providing. So if you are looking for something or needing some more information on job search, it'd be interesting to hear what the Wall Street Journal is recommending. Those were the most important articles from the week, and that was what was in my summary Sunday. Were there questions or comments that you had about any of those articles, or questions that you have for your job search? I know that I've answered a couple, and I appreciate those people that ask questions. Anything else? Thanks, John, for sharing that it's the 4th. I hope you signed up. It should be interesting. Well, if there any ideas why warehouse will be decreasing? I think it explains in that article, and that's a really good question, Sharon. Um, I don't know the answer to that. I think that it's going to be automated, so I don't think it will take quite as many people to do some of the warehouse functions. If it's automated, they'll still need some. And I think that's why it's a gray and not a black. It's not decreasing as much. The automation, the robots, the technology will help do some of the picking, though it can't do it all. They still need humans in there to do oversight of that. So I think that's why. Good question. Because I think I read something else in Forbes or something about that. Thank you for sharing that link, Laura. Good, Nigel. I just want you all to be effective and efficient with your time. And part of that is investing a little bit of extra time learning something new, because that skill will come in helpful in your next job and in your next job search. So, hey, everybody, have a great week. Thank you for being here with me. And this is going to be living on Facebook, but I'm also putting a recording up over on YouTube. So if you know people that aren't on Facebook and do you think this might be helpful, feel free to share my YouTube page. It's Career Sherpa. Thanks for being here. I enjoyed it. Always good seeing you guys. Thanks so much. Have a good week. Make it work.